Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hi, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today we're discussing Deep Space Nine, Season 2, Episode 4, Invasive Procedures. In this episode, Deep Space Nine is running with a skeleton crew, and whilst that's happening, a Trill named Verad, his girlfriend, and two Klingon mercenaries take the crew hostage and try to steal Dax's symbiont.
What did you think?
Oh, it was exciting. I remembered this episode. I remembered the rough outline. And I actually didn't have very high expectations, but I was quite surprised at how much fun it was, even if it was a little bit predictable, I guess.
Why didn't you have high expectations?
I just remembered it being not that exciting. I don't know why, because it was actually pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Some genuine feels for well, I can't call her Dax because there are two Daxes. We have to Jadzia and Varad. Yeah, you actually have concern for her well-being. I mean, we know things will turn out all right in the end. It's like a superhero movie, you know.
Yeah.
It's not going to end in tears, but there's some tension there, and it's fun. Not that tension is fun, but I had fun watching this unravel.
You were tense watching it.
Yes.
You've brought up a number of times that Deep Space Nine has good guest stars, or guest stars who bring in good performances. I would include the guest stars in this episode into that category.
Definitely. This guy is great, Varad. That the transformation that his character makes from the timid and stumbling over his words guy to the confident guy. I mean, it's so different. It's night and day. It's really cool to see.
It was well done, especially as they told you it was going to happen, which makes you slightly suspicious of how it's going to play out. Prepping the viewer for that is always kind of problematic because it kind of puts the onus on them to get it just right. But I think they did when he starts.
Yeah, they pull it off.
When he starts chumming with Benjamin, the difference is quite noticeable. And the difference in Jadzia as well, for the few lines she had without this symbiont, she sounded quite sort of scared and withdrawn all of a sudden.
Yeah, she played that off really well. She looked so sad. It was well done.
I like it when the crew have to work together to fight an oppressor or fight for some common cause, especially when ancillary characters like Quark get mixed in, whose motives are mixed at best.
The adventures of Quark continue.
Yeah, that was another thing that I think kind of is a bit annoying about the episode. It was Quark's fault that these people got on board, and they said in fairly strict terms that he was gonna pay for what had happened. Well, not pay, I mean face criminal charges. So you know he's gonna do something special to exonerate himself enough that he is back to normal at the end of the episode. And
then he kind of does, but not to justify what he did or exonerate himself.
Well, there's a bit of Boy Who Cried Wolf sort of situation because it seemed like he was trying just to make a clandestine deal with the Klingon and had no idea they were actually going to do all this stuff with Jadzia Dax. I mean, I assume that's the plotline. It wasn't explicitly stated.
Yeah, all he cared about was that little box of tubes, and then the Klingon said, "No, we don't really care about that anymore."
Yeah,
or if we ever did.
Yeah, it's not clear, or I don't feel they made it clear enough that Quark had been double-crossed, or because it kind of seemed to me like he let them on to run rampant and was also going to trade them some tubes in a box. But then they reneged on the tube box and just did the other stuff. But I think what it actually was supposed to be was the tube box deal, and then they double-crossed him.
Yeah, that's not really emphasized. And if you miss that bit, then the episode feels kind of wobbly.
Yeah, well, it's a very important difference for Quark's character. It's the difference between colluding for a dodgy deal versus basically murdering one of the crew members.
What we've seen of Quark so far doesn't seem like he would just flippantly let someone die.
Yeah,
it's not good for business.
I'm not saying he wouldn't get involved with murder, but I think there would have to be some serious slat in him, and it would not be so easily traceable back to him. Sisko was upping his manipulation game.
Oh, the great manipulator. I loved seeing him in action in this episode.
He was pulling out the stops, and it was pretty good to see, I thought.
Yeah, we're getting a better idea of why this guy is commander. So that's cool to see. And I like that his target for manipulation was aware of what he was trying to do, but then it was still effective.
Oh, he was manipulating both of them, Varad and Muriel.
Yeah, specifically Muriel. She knew what was up. She calls him out on it, but then it still works.
Yeah, well, he wriggled into her brain and planted the seeds of doubt. Or nurtured them if they were already there. Or pruned them if they were already blossoming.
Or potted them if they were... No, you had it.
Okay. I think this is this the first appearance of Klingons as a major character, or not major character, like a speaking, interacting role?
We had Klingons interact with Odo, I remember.
And there was also that one they beamed off that had the purple haze virus, but he only said one word before pegging it. So these guys are the first Klingons we've had, and they were very Klingon-ish, e.g. they just continually moan about honor, which seems to be doing something stupid and getting yourself killed in a violent way. It seemed like Dax's actions were fairly brave and honorable.
Yeah, and she's been around for 300 years. She should know when to give in.
Yeah, she laid down her life so her friends could live. That surely takes guts.
I was a little confused. Not confused, but surprised during the procedure. They didn't show the incisions being made, so I thought that the Trills have little kangaroo pouches because the symbiont is just slid out and slid into the other guy. But then they show the sealing of the opening. But I had this moment of thinking Trills are kangaroo-like creatures.
How were they supposed to have evolved? I think that might be discussed later, but it's kind of strange that the symbiotic relationship between two creatures requires surgery to establish.
That doesn't seem like it would work well.
Doesn't seem like it would happen.
Yeah. Maybe it should have been kangaroo pouches.
Yeah, then at least it would make sense because you could get it in without surgery. Still doesn't seem likely to happen, but well, it's a space thing, so it's fine, I guess.
Space evolution, it's beyond our understanding.
The Trills seem to be very respectable as a race. O'Brien, or was it Odo, who was surprised at the start to see a Trill amongst the mercenaries.
Yeah, how did this bundle of nervous energy end up with these Klingons? That was weird.
Oh, the Klingons are like hired guns, I guess.
Oh, okay, so they have no allegiance, just honor to the paycheck.
Yeah, they are often mercenaries, and that's what I assumed. But although, now you point out, it was never really stated why the Klingons were there.
Having a bit of fun. They were bored.
Well, it is the sort of thing that Klingons would do for a laugh.
I didn't like that part in the beginning with Odo, when he readily morphs into that little box. Barad says, do as he says and no one gets hurt. You have no assurance that they'll keep that promise. And Odo seems like the kind of person who, or kind of shapeshifter, who wouldn't just accept that premise.
Well, he kind of doesn't, and then the Klingon says, do it or I will kill this guy. I guess he didn't really have a choice. Okay, maybe they will still kill the others, but they definitely will if he doesn't.
So he says.
It still seems like Odo should be stronger than he is. He was bigged up quite a lot by Kira. It said, if Odo's free, there's no way you're getting off this station. Then he kind of just jettisoned their ship and helped Kira, I think, kick in a Klingon. So it's not that good. I don't know, it seemed odd to big him up so much and spend so much time sealing him in that container if he wasn't astoundingly useful. Like Bashir could have done what Odo did.
Yeah. But we also don't know if Kira was just using a scare tactic.
Oh, that's true. So I have a couple of errors that I've seen in this episode.
Let's hear it.
Okay, the first one here I've written down is really weird. They take off Odo's comm badge.
You've mentioned in a previous episode that Odo is basically naked, and so that stood out to me because of your comment. That wouldn't be possible to remove that.
Yeah, well, it morphs when he morphs, so surely it's part of him. But maybe it is part of him and they just take it off anyway, so a bit of him is outside.
Oh yeah, so we saw him as a glass and he was shattered, so he can be separated.
Which, it would be interesting if the comm badge could then turn into the full-size Odo, because it can change mass as well. Like, his gloopy stuff can get bigger and smaller. No, it doesn't make any sense. I think they just use the rule of keeping things simple in regards to clothes and comm badges on Odo, because it would be really annoying if he had to carry his comm badge around every time he turned into a rat or a wall or a box.
He would become much less useful.
Well, he could just morph it into his body, into a little hole inside.
Now I'm imagining a little rat with a comm badge on it.
Oh, that would be really cute.
What else did you mark down?
Bashir wakes up Jadzia Dax, then tells her to rest.
Yeah, well, he has to make sure she knows while she sleeps that she should be sleeping.
Come on, wake up, wake up. Okay, now go to sleep.
Standard practice.
Muriel gives O'Brien a cup of piping hot soup. He could have used the attack soup in the face.
Ah, yes. Classic.
But you wouldn't give a hostage burning hot liquid. You could completely disfigure someone with that.
Maybe she's probably a first-time hostage taker.
Well, yeah. Yeah, she had other amateur mistakes. Like, she yells, "No talking," and then a scene later, she's just having a discussion with them.
Yeah, so she hasn't read up on proper hostage-taking etiquette.
The only other thing I noted down was that they made a huge fuss about evacuation in the previous episode, and Quark got left behind in the last episode, and then they used the same plot idea here. It makes it kind of weird. Did you find it weird?
Oh, that didn't even occur to me. This is obviously a separate evacuation. And I was thinking it was the same one because I'm silly.
No, they all came back at the end of the last one. And obviously just turned around and went straight back on the shuttles.
I guess we're out of here again. Yeah, that's really odd.
If they had tied it into the previous episode, that actually would have worked pretty well.
But back to back, same plot device? That's really...
Yeah.
Not good.
I mean, it's not terrible if you watch them more than one a week, then you might not quite remember, but it kind of stands out, especially as Quark is left behind. So it would have slotted into the previous plot thread perfectly. And then they could have had an emotional scene at the end where everyone comes back.
And Quark caresses a suitcase of gold-pressed latinum.
He loves his latinum. He's just a Ferengi. You cannot blame him.
Oh, I don't blame him. I thought it was weird when he said it's a gift after he unlocks the container. Because it's a funny moment, but then it discounts his hard work for following the rules of acquisition and becoming so successful as he is. It's not a gift, it's something he's worked hard at.
Oh, I think he meant lockpicking.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something you don't just come out of the womb capable of lockpicking. It's something you had to work at.
Not unless that worm has a very secure exit.
Okay, maybe then. I don't know what the Ferengi anatomy is like. I don't know what the birth procedure is like, so maybe he did have to pick a lock.
I think it was a glib comment to play it off like the fact he can pick a complex lock is nothing to worry about. It's just a knack that he picked up without having ever really done it in practice hundreds of times. Bashir says, "We've got to get Odo out of here."
What are you doing?
Odo's in here.
He is?
Yes, and we've got to get him out.
Are you sure?
Quark.
Yeah.
If only we knew the access code.
Quark's like trying to play it off as if it was completely a joke when you know there was probably a tiny drop of sincerity to it.
He has another great comedic moment when Bashir knocks out that Klingon and then he says, "I feel better already, Doctor."
Yeah. Oh, he has another good one as well. When Bashir says the injuries are superficial and Quark just goes, "No!"
Yeah. He caught on quickly, thankfully.
And then a scene later, he's saying, "Oh, well, it could be fatal." And his squealing noise was quite good too.
Appropriately grating.
Although, if you think about it, everything Quark did was the equivalent of telling the prison guard that you're feeling sick.
Yeah, pretty much.
He dressed it up nicely, but it was the oldest cliche of how to break out of captivity.
But it followed a little tussle he had, so he had cause to complain about an injury.
Well, it would take a Ferengi to sell such a corny story and have people buy it. This was another Dax episode where Dax didn't really do anything.
That's an interesting point. Because coming away from this episode, I do mostly think about Dax or Jadzia. Or I guess Dax, because Dax gets transferred. And yeah, she's not in it much. Same as with the episode that shares her name. She doesn't do much, but it's all about her. And oddly, those are really good Dax episodes.
Yeah, they're both decent. But it would be nice to get a Dax episode where Dax actually has a leading role.
One can hope.
Well, there's still 100 and however many episodes, 150 plus episodes to go, so I'm sure at some point we'll see Dax taking a central role in that episode. Do you have wise words of wisdom from the show?
I don't know if they fall under that category, but they are words from the show. Bashir says, I've struck down the sails and battened down the hatches, so to speak. And I took note of that line because I like that he uses a nautical term. There are a lot of idioms that we use now that have nautical origins, and I like that they continued it, and the idea that it continues in space. We have learn the ropes, 3 sheets to the wind, a whole bunch of them. So I thought that was a nice touch.
Swab the poop deck.
Walk the plank.
Yeah, it could just be that Bashir has said he has a keen understanding of military history. But no, I think it's become part of the language. You can actually look up engineering terms that have become part of the language, and there's some that are quite surprising because you wouldn't think that they were, but they only appeared sort of 50, 100 years ago at max. I can't remember any of them though, so...
Aww.
Here are some examples. You can be a cog in the machine. You can be in tune with someone or on the same wavelength. You can blow a fuse, or you might be firing on all cylinders.
Cisco is a loose cannon sometimes. Not really. I just wanted to say loose cannon.
Yeah, because it's nautical.
One thing I wish they explored more was the odd and unique experience of having a symbiont. At first, he walks out and he says, "Oh, I know this place now," or something like that, talking about the ship. That strong sense of deja vu you would get visiting places that you would have been new to you, but then aren't. It's just a strange thing to think about, to suddenly have memories implanted.
Yeah, the idea is fantastic, and they could definitely get a lot more mileage out of it than they have already. I mean, they've got decent mileage out of it in the couple episodes we've seen about the Trill in Deep Space Nine, but it's definitely the most interesting plot device of any of the people on board. Probably followed up by Odo's shapeshifting, but that's kind of just like a special power. It's not perspective changing. Or maybe it is, who knows. Ha!
Yeah, there's so much to explore with that idea. And I'm sure they'll do more. They've already, as you said, they've already done some things. And so that's promising.
Yeah, I guess one of the issues with Dax is that they want to write shows about Dax, not about Jadzia. So you can have a Chief O'Brien episode where he's doing something cool, happens to involve engineering, but is most about his character. But whenever it comes to Dax, it's usually going to be about being a Trill rather than what Jadzia is doing. Like, you could substitute any other Trill with the same storyline and it would probably work.
That's true. And if they do that too much, it'll dilute her character, whatever character there is there. She does need to be developed more.
This helped a bit, but
Yeah.
she's been a bit more of a character in season 2. She's been a bit more wise, confident, as you'd expect someone to be, with the properties that she has. But yeah, she needs concentrating, not diluting. And in a sense, this episode doesn't really help.
Yeah, this episode is not a home run for Jedzia.
No, but it's maybe second base. Oh, but we can't start using baseball analogies because they're also used for getting rude with people.
Yeah. If anything, we should use baseball analogies with Bashir. Well, season 1 Bashir.
Don't speak of him anymore. He's a new man now.
Yeah, he really is. He's so different. And I thought about in that scene where he's speaking tenderly to Jedzia on the operating table, how that would not work at all in season 1.
Yeah.
But yes, season 1 Bashir, he's dead.
I think we can leave season 1 behind. It's obvious that it's not going to stand up to season 2. Well, I think already it's becoming fairly clear.
Yeah, definitely.
When I say season 1, I don't mean Duet. I mean all the episodes apart from Duet.
Yeah, when you say it, I finish the thought in my head. You say season 1, and then I hear season 1, except for Duet. I think we're done.
Yes, it's time to continue our space quest in the next episode.
I agree.